In this video, we'll be breaking down an exchange between False Edge Hema's Josh Dale on the right and Jonathan Yeager on the left. This is a very interesting exchange because it shows how a fighter can build a pattern while collecting information and then use that knowledge in real time to make the adjustments needed to exploit his opponent. Josh does an advance to lunge, then fakes like he's going to do a high-low feint. He then pauses to bait his opponent into attacking so he can parry and repost. I want you to remember this sequence of movements right here because it plays a big role in the fight and I'll be referring to it later. His opponent takes the bait and attacks. Josh gets the parry he wanted while slightly stepping back, keeping perfect measure. At the same time, Josh sinks down, lowering his body. This gives the opponents less targets to hit while at the same time loading Josh up for his attack. Josh springs forward, advancing into a lunge again while keeping his weapon in the way of his opponent's, and attacks feinting high, exposing under his opponent's arm and hitting the guard of his opponent's weapon. He moves slightly back and pre-parries the opponent's logical line, but the opponent is wise and chooses not to attack and get tricked again. Josh then throws a couple more cuts to bait while retreating, but the opponent still isn't biting. Instead of falling into the same trap again or continue to get assaulted, Yeager decides to close. Now what's crazy is the move that Josh faked throwing in the very beginning, the one that I said to remember, the one where he advances to lunge, then fakes like he's going to do a high-low feint, but instead pauses and baits his opponent into attacking so he could parry, then hit with the high-low feint. Well, now he does that exact same sequence, except this time he actually throws the attack instead of pausing, and he times it perfectly to catch his opponent in tempo as he closes in. This is a crazy display of time adjustments happening mid-fight, not just changing up when he attacks, but also perfectly catching his opponent in tempo as he comes forward. Now back to the exchange. Both fighters were closing, and Josh was feinting high. This high feint tempo locks his opponent's arm, which renders Yeager unable to parry the low shot from Josh. I think Josh hits here, but he may not have. Josh then retreats back while preemptively parrying high, the same way as before, then attacks lower and hits his opponent in the torso. At the same time, he steps offline and preemptively parries his opponent's afterblow. Then he fences out with a cut while closing the line. So simply, what happened is, Josh throws a sequence of high-low feint bait attacks while analyzing his opponents. He then simply adjusts his timing to catch his opponent in tempo. Now what I wonder is, was that a setup from the very first start, from the very first pause, or was Josh just flowing through high-low bait attacks until his opponent made a mistake? Or was he actively memorizing his opponent's timing and measured to capitalize on it while throwing a programmed series of attacks? What's good about having memorized series of attacks that you flow through is you can throw several attacks that you don't even have to think about. This frees up your mind to study your opponent, so you can just make small adjustments on a pre-trained series of movements. What did impress me though was not just his excellent timing, but his measure. He kept proper distance on his slight retreats, not moving back too far, costing him time on the reposts. He also lowered his body on his parries to minimize targets and load up his attacks, while at the same time covering the line and preemptive parrying. He even used angles at the proper place and time and didn't overdo it. The whole time he fought, he was ready to defend himself and even fenced out in the end.